What's going on, everybody? This is Black Men Sundays. Happy 2024. Happy New Year. This is Black Men Sundays. We're talking about generational wealth. We're talking about finance. And of course, we're talking about business.
It's a Black Man Sunday. Time to put all childish things away. I refuse to be the man I was yesterday. Gotta put my best foot forward and elevate.
It's the new year, and today's guest, we bringing back our brother Nelson Simmons. We haven't seen him all of 2023. He kicked
Yes.
off 2022 January 4th. He kicked it off, set the tone. He set the tone for my life. He set me up with an account because here's my thing. When we talk about generational wealth, finance, and business, I hate to bring guests to you guys and I'm not utilizing their services. I'm utilizing this brother's services. Trust me, I done had some rough months where I don't know if I want to give him that money right now, but I'm like, you know what? We did that. So without further ado, Nelson Simmons, budgeting coach, my financial advisor, 2 decades of corporate and finance and accounting experience. Just a masterclass. Welcome to 2024, everybody. Nelson Simmons, welcome back to Black Men Sundays. Happy holidays. Happy New Year, brother.
Yeah. Thank you for allowing me back on the show to do my thing and to basically talk to you guys about what I'm most passionate about, and that is helping people win with their finances. Right, that is my goal. But now it's been rebirth, or a fire's been lit up under me now that I have a mission. Right, and my mission is to create or help create as many everyday millionaires as I can, right? So yeah, that's the actual mission that I'm on all of 2024, and as long as the good Lord allows me to do it, I'm going to continue to do that.
Let's jump right in. I'm excited. I
Mhm.
don't need to give you no alley oops. You know how to dunk. So how can I become a millionaire in 30 years, my brother?
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you before that I can tell you. I kind of want to explain what an everyday millionaire is. That's just a ordinary person, just like myself, like you, who didn't grow up with money. We didn't grow up with a silver spoon in our hand. We didn't grow up, at least I didn't, upper middle class, first generation, soon to be wealthy, a millionaire. Definitely educated. My parents knew that, but they just didn't have the tools to teach me how the money game worked, right? And so it's quite simple. But before I go into, how does one become an everyday millionaire, I want to talk about the hindrance to us becoming an everyday millionaire. There's various reasons as I'm seeing, or I see out in the field, but I'm going to list three root causes, or what I see persistently when I'm doing my thing with my investment clients, right? And one, or when I'm doing my budgeting coaching as well. And that's the lack of an emergency fund and proper financial planning. That's all in one. Lifestyle creep, and then family, right? We're going to get into all of those before I even start talking about, some statistics with regards to the everyday millionaire. So let's talk about the lack of an emergency fund. Most people can't cover a $400 emergency, right? We're struggling out here because we just don't have the funds to, when life just happens, and it will happen, to cover that emergency. So a properly funded emergency fund is an account with 3 to 6 months of living savings in it. And so what ends up happening is, what hinders the people that I sit across from is when they dip into their retirement savings, because they don't have that appropriate emergency fund set up appropriately, right? So you're taking money from you're basically stealing from a future version of yourself to cover something that, if you just had appropriately planned for it, wouldn't even be an issue. So we just came off the Christmas season, and I'm just like tackling it as I see it, right? I've just sat down with a particular client, and they we were saying, okay, so we missed the mark this year with Christmas gifts, right? We had to take out of savings to cover Christmas. We didn't do it quite bad on credit card, which is probably the worst thing that you can do, especially how the interest rates are working on those credit cards right now. But we took it out of savings, right? And that's not an account that you should be taking that out of. That is not an emergency. Your Christmas day is not an emergency, a case of emergency. But, your gifts for your kids is not an emergency. That is for something truly actually going wrong around the house. So how you actually plan for that is you set up a like a special account, a Christmas account fund for your family, right? Outside of your emergency fund. So say, for instance, you have I think a 1,200, my math may be wrong, but if it is, somebody correct me, a $1,200 budget for next year. That's $100, I think so, a month that you would put back in this fund. So when Christmas comes, because it comes on the 25th of every single year, you already have that money stashed away. And so another thing that I see is the lack of, where people are going into their retirement accounts for luxury vacations, right? Going into their 401k plans, borrowing it, making withdrawals, taking out loans. And the only time, and there's other measures, I would like to exhaust those and look over those options before I touch my money. Because once you take the money out of the market, that's it, right? It takes time in the market for your money to grow properly. But the only time that I would say, and it's not for a luxury vacation, that it'd be okay to maybe take out money out of your retirement account is if you're buying a non-correlating asset that's non-correlated to the stock market, which is, real estate, buying a home, and things of that nature, right? So those are the only times that I would say that you should take it out. So that's number one. And then lifestyle creep. So when we get raises, right, we usually don't save and invest. We just up our lifestyle, right? Because we're not accustomed, especially us in the middle class, with saving, right? We don't know when we're going to get to buy that new bag or whatever your vice is, right? So just because you make more money doesn't mean your spending habits change, right? Just like if you had a vice with a drug, the more money you make, the more access you have to that particular drug. And it's the same thing with whatever it is you like to do. So that's what I'm seeing when I'm sitting across the table with people that I'm talking to, as well as family. And this one is real hard to sell people, especially in our community, because we want to take care of mom and make sure mom is straight. But I say that we have to take care of ourselves first, right? If there is they tell you on a plane, when you get on the plane, if we have some kind of incident that happened, put your mask on first, because you can't be of any service to anyone until your mask is on first. So I said all that to say is we need to start taking care of ourselves better. It's not our kids' job to take care of us in old age. We should be an everyday millionaire. So when they're out living their lives, having kids, doing what they are supposed to be doing, just living, they don't have to look back and worry about mom, right? And vice versa, right? But I see it on the parent side, where the parents are taking care of grown children, right? And that usually messes their retirement plan up. I've got some elderly or clients that should be in retirement that instead of saving appropriately during their hard working years when they were trading time for money, when they had the strength to do it, they were busy taking care of their kids instead of putting their nest egg away for themselves in retirement. So I just wanted to kind of reiterate this point. Put your mask on first. Your family member's problem is not their emergency is not your emergency. What were you going to do beforehand? And then, okay, if I get you out of this jam, I'm going to teach you how to fish. I need to get you on, or I need to get you in front of somebody that can get you on a savings plan and an investment plan so that you're no longer, or you will never be in this situation again. So in saying that, a way that I help families cope with family members who may just need that little help is to set up like a slush fund for them, like a secret account. They don't know about it. And then what you put, like, say, for instance, you put $100 a month in there. And then at the end of the year, you got $1,200 for them that they don't know about. But once they spend that $1,200, then my pocketbook is closed to you. You've spent your limit with me, so that doesn't interrupt your day-to-day, and it doesn't interrupt your retirement planning at all, right? So I think I hit that on the nose, right? And so these are the type of hindrances that I see when I'm sitting down with clients. My oldest client came to me when they were 70 years old, and they were like, am I in a position to retire? And the hardest thing to tell someone that's 70 years old and ready to sit down, they're vibrant, and they have the ability to work. But 2 years in my life as a 40, almost plus 40-year-old man is not that big a deal. But when you're sitting across from someone who is aged and they're elderly, 2 years is a big freaking deal in their life, right? The wear and tear on the body is different, right? So if I'm under a lot of stress and then they're under the same amount of stress because they're working like they're young, it's going to take a bigger toll on them. So they're already ready to come out of the workforce, but can't. So in that situation, I'm like, can you just give me 5 years to kind of piece it together? Because Social Security by itself is not going to be enough, right? So we thank God this particular individual owns a home, and we're going to have to do some creative stuff of using that equity to help fund retirement, when if they just had not done these hindrances or had hindrances or roadblocks to keep them from earning or having $1 million in their account, they would have been very well off and not having to work well into their 70s and 75, right? I'm going to read off some statistics. I'm a statistic guy. I like to do my research and make sure that my conclusions are valid, right? So before I start reading off these statistics, I want you to know that they're just like you and I. None of these people, really came from money. Some of them even came from lower middle class, and very few came from upper middle class to, the wealthy, right? Okay, so this was a national study done or conducted by Ramsey Solution. Everybody knows who Dave Ramsey is. He's a big financial guru based here in Nashville, Tennessee, where I reside. And his study found that 79% of millionaires did not receive any inheritance at all from their parents or other family members. The majority of millionaires didn't even grow up around money. Kind of like me and you, right? Like you and I. According to the survey, 8 out of 10 millionaires came from families at or below middle income level. Only 2% of millionaires surveyed said they came from upper income families. The majority of millionaires in the survey did not have high level, high salary jobs. Only 15% were in senior level positions. These are your CEOs, CFOs, and COOs, chief operating officers. So what were the top 5 careers that millionaires had that were in this survey? Well, there were engineers, accountants and CPAs, teachers, those in management, definitely not upper management, and then attorneys. So I can see the engineers, because they know how math work. They can get this, how compounding interest work. Accountants can do the same thing. I can actually see attorneys and accountants. They're rule-based, right? So if I just follow this plan that someone gives me, I can get there. But teachers, they are very underpaid, in my opinion, but they make the majority of millionaires, because it's not about how much you make. It's about how much you can keep, you can save, you can invest over a period of time. over several decades, right? So that's what's going to cause you to win and become an everyday millionaire. And some further statistics: only 31% average $100,000 a year over the course of their career, and 1/3 never made six figures in any single working year of their career. And this kind of coincides with the Census Bureau study that said only 18% of individuals and 33.6% of U.S. households earn 100K. 8 out of 10 millionaires invested in their company's 401k plan, and that simple step was key to their financial success. Not only that, but 3 out of 4 of those surveyed also invested outside of their company plans, which is your traditional IRAs or Roths, right? And here we go with, I've got a few more statistics. I know hopefully nobody's eyes are glazed over, but hey, this stuff gets me fired up. It's really putting, I can do this. There is no excuse for me not to be a millionaire after I'm through finished trading my time for money. And one of my sayings that I often say is, work without purpose is worthless, right? It's just worthless. So what are you working towards? What is your end game? You have to have an end game in mind, right? So the profile of a $1 million 401k investor, according to Fidelity, looks something like the average age being 59.4 years old. They've been investing in their 401k for 26.6 years, so almost 30 years, which is several decades. And then their allocation to stock is about 80%. It's sitting at 76.6%. So they have a portfolio of 80% stock, 20% bond, right? Which that's like a growth strategy in my world. The average savings rate of a 401k millionaire was 13.9%, according to Fidelity. Nelson Simmons NS3 says you need about 15% all around. And this includes any kind of company matches, right? On your 401k plan, 403Bs, 457Bs, TSPs, those employer sponsored plans, right? I've got some more statistics, but I'm not gonna go into that. So is there any questions with regards to statistics? Do we want to talk about it? Did you want me to keep going? Because I can keep going, because now we're getting ready to hit, what we need to be doing, right? The retirement contribution income limits for 2024. What can I do? How do I get here? What are my limits? What you need to know, right? So I believe it's important. So I'm just going to tell you what I think is important, what I preach to my clients. Do what you can, but we want to be overachievers. We don't want to just be average or, I'm getting ready to date myself in how country I am. Fairly middling. You see what I'm saying? We don't want to just be getting by, putting a couple of dollars here. Let's try to strive to get to the max of what the IRS said we can put in these tax shelters so we can grow our money, right? They're giving us these shelters to where we're not being taxed. So yes, let's put all the money in there. Let's utilize them. Let's take advantage of compounding interest, because we're already getting beat over the head by the banks when we go borrow money for our houses. We go borrow money for, when we're paying the credit card companies, when we're borrowing money to buy a car, right? Those interest rates work against us, right? So let's put it in some vehicles. Let's put it in an account that grows and where we can get that interest instead of giving it all to the bank and letting them become rich and them supply their shareholders, which we need to be shareholders in banks so that we have some skin in the game, right? All right, so for 2024, man, I can't believe we're already here, guys. The IRA contribution limits for 2024 are $7,000 for anybody under the age of 50. Guys, that's only it sounds like a lot, but when you get 30 years down the road or 40 years down the road, that amount of the money that you sacrificed today and in those years that you were saving will be failed in comparison when you have $1 million or more sitting in one of these retirement accounts. So $7,000 is the limit for those below 50. That's $583.31 per month. That's all you can put in a IRA account right now. If you're 50, you can put an additional $1,000. So that's $8,000 a month. Excuse me, a year. $666.66 per month if you're 50 and older. For your 401k, 403bs, 4057bs, your thrift savings plans, you can put $23,000 in if you're under 50, and $30,500 as a catch up if you're 50. If you're doing well for yourself, they don't want you contributing to a Roth, right? They limit the amount of money you can make and contribute to a Roth. There are ways around it, and we're getting ready to talk about that backdoor Roth, right? All right, yes, what y'all want to talk about? Okay. So you can contribute the full of $7,000 if your modified gross, adjusted gross income is less than $146,000. So you have a range, $146,000 to $161,000. That's the range. It starts to fade as you make more than $146,000 as an individual, right? So once you hit that 161,000, you can no longer, as an individual, if you're filing as a single or head of household, you cannot legally contribute to a Roth IRA. As a married person, $7,000 each. The wife and the husband can both contribute $7,000 to a Roth IRA. Once you start making $230,000 or more, that's when you're no longer allowed to contribute to a Roth IRA. So you've totally phased out at 240, right? That's when you're filing as, jointly, right? All right. So now there is a way around this if you're a high income earner. It's called the backdoor Roth strategy. And I'm getting ready to give you the strategy and then explain in its simplest form the trickiness of it, because it's tricky. If you already have a traditional RIA that you've rolled over from a previous job, and then you want to convert it to a Roth IRA so that you have some tax-free money, because it's going to matter when you're in retirement, because you're going to be taxed, right? At some point, the IRS is going to come in and it's at age 73 now and say, hey, it's time to pay taxes. We're going to make you take this required distribution, whether you need it or not. So you need some money that is non-taxable. So here's the Roth backdoor strategy. Number one, you're going to open up a traditional IRA account that has no prior contributions. Number two, you're going to open up a Roth IRA. Number three, you're going to contribute to the traditional IRA, but you're going to hold the funds in a money market, just in cash, till the conversion. 4, you're going to convert the money to the Roth IRA. Inside the Roth IRA is when you start picking those investments to help grow your money tax-free. All right, that is the strategy. Now, if it earns anything inside that traditional IRA and you try to convert it, then you subject yourself to, you're going to have to fill out a form called it's a tax form called 8606. That's the form you got to fill out. But then you're going to subject yourself to the pro rata rule, which states that, hey, we don't know if you've been taxed on this. Did you earn anything? Did you take any deductions for contributions? We need to know. But as long as, and that's the simplest term, right? So if you were to even do the strategy that I said, and you have investments inside that traditional, it's going to automatically subject you to the pro rata. If you have a job, you leave your job, you roll it over, you take your money from your old employer and you roll it over into a traditional IRA, That money has already seen some growth. So you're going to be subject to the pro rata rule, and it's only going to let you take a portion of it and convert it over into the Roth. It's not going to let you take all of it, right? And then it's that complex calculation. You're going to get your tax attorney or tax accountant, CPA involved to help you with determining how much can be converted and how much taxes you will owe in the year of conversion. It's a one-time deal. So if you want to do it, you can do it. But I advise going over just the backdoor strategy, opening up 2 accounts and then starting from scratch. This is and believe it or not, it is this simple. It is this simple. This is the strategy that I follow. It is truly this simple to become an everyday millionaire. There's a myriad of ways that you can do it that will stress you the heck out. Real estate is one of those that are capital intensive, which means cash. You're going to have some cash flow, some bank to do it sometimes, right? This is simple. $500. You can't go into a bank and be like, hey, I want to, I don't know of anywhere you can put a down payment on a house or closing costs and all the other stuff that goes into buying real estate or starting a business and things of that nature. This is very, very low entry when it comes to, if you think about it, of what you have to contribute to become that millionaire, right? It's this simple. Number 1, contribute to your employer sponsor plan up to the corporate match. Then go back and max out your Roth IRA if you're eligible. I've already told you how to do the backdoor strategy in traditional IRA. Then go back and max out your employer sponsored plan. That's it. Now, if you get that done, that's a lot of money in moving in the market, right? Got 23,000 plus 7,000. Y'all do the math. If you're behind, you got 8,000 plus 30,500. Y'all do the math. That's a lot of money going on. So that's basically all that everyday ordinary people can do. If they're doing that, they're doing extremely well. Are there other things that you can do in the market? Yeah. But I ain't talking about that today. Okay? All right. So now we're getting ready to go, and I'm getting ready to prove it out. So you remember with the statistic that said it took the average everyday millionaire 26.6 years to become that. Well, I'm going to do it for 30, and I'm going to do it on a strategy that kind of mirrors the market, right? It's a fund that I utilize with clients that is used to protect capital when the markets are, in a rift, right? Because we're going to have in anybody's investment career, we're going to have a recession, maybe some bouts of inflation. Heck, there's definitely going to be wars. We always in and out of wars, and you can't rule out another pandemic because we didn't have that too. So I'm getting ready to share if technology will cooperate. This isn't me because I am in the market, but say for instance, I'm new to the market. I'm going to hit 2024 off running, right? So in 30 years, I can't project what will happen in 30 years, but I can go back 30 years in a fund, in which you should do. And if when I'm advising clients, I just don't throw their money in there. I want them to have a track record, right? Kind of I really want to say this, if you're dating someone, you kind of want to know a little bit about, you want to know about the family, medical history sometimes, if they have any mental health issues and things of that nature, if you want to deal with that kind of thing. You want to know a little bit about who you're dating, right? So you need to know a little bit about what you're investing in. And so you want them to have at least a 10-year track record to say, this is how this fund is going to behave over time, right? It's going in 10 years, there's a lot can happen. There is going to be another recession. Heck, there may be a recession in 2024. It may be. They're predicting that. That's every year though, right? Rates gonna come down. We'll get into that if we have time. What I think is going to happen in the market and the economy later. But here it is, guys. A fund that I utilize with my clients. That's, as you can see, what this represents is The crimson or red line represents the portfolio. The blue line represents the market as a whole, which is the S&P, and it's kind of lockstep with it, right? It kind of outperformed in years 2018. Can everybody see it? So this is me, you only, all of you guys on YouTube, making the decision that this year is the year that I'm going to take the steps for a future version of myself to become a millionaire. This is for this year, and it increasingly goes up, right? So what you can contribute. Last year, you could contribute 6,500. 2022, you could contribute 6,000. In 2024, it's 7,000. So this is 7,000. What 7,000 would do over a 30-year time span. That's $583.33 a month, guys. You would have contributed $209,880 over 30 years, and it would have netted you right at $1 million. And this is just going with the flow of the market. The market is going to return you 7 to 10%. Is there a way for you to beat that? Yes, there are some proponents that say the market is called the efficient market theory, that no fund manager over the course of time can beat the market. That is absolutely, it's bull, it's BS. I've seen it, and some of the things that I've analyzed, and we're just going to leave it there. But that's it. We made that $1 million mark, right, over 30 years, and this is what I consider a loaded mutual fund, which means you pay up front, right? So here's your fees over the 30 years that you would pay, and you still hit $1 billion with a 9% return. Remember, I just said, I think I did, that the market, on average, the modern stock market has returned 7 to 10%, and boom, there it is. Quick math. This is just math. It's just math. It is what it is. All right. So say, for instance, I got another scenario where a person hypothetically had saved $100,000, because there's something that when you got that much money moving in the market, when the market moves, you're making tens of thousands of dollars on them swings. It's crazy. The momentum that you get, right? So, and then this hypothetical person, and this is when I say hypothetical, please don't get this twisted. This is what it would have happened if you had your money in this time frame. It's historical. It's not a hypothetical. It's historical. It is what it is. 1994, you had your money from 1994 to just last year, the closing day of the market, the last day of last year. This is what the market would have done. And then in this length of time, I've tested the waters, because we've had the second Gulf War, we've had the .com, we've had 9/11 terror attack, we've had the Great Recession. All these things are going to happen again. We've had the pandemic. We've had all this stuff, and you still ended up with $1 million. Everyday millionaire. I can't make it up. So here's a look at the same time frame, but this is a person that has some money in the market. And they say, you know what? I'm getting ready to I'm going to leave my money here, but I ain't contributing not a dime more. You still end up with $1.4 million. In fact, you end up with more money because it's time in the market and you're not building. Yeah, you're buying more shares of a thing when you're what it's called dollar cost averaging. But if you just throw a big chunk in it, you're already making tens of thousands of dollars as the market is going up, right? So you're going to end up with more money because of the dollar amount that you just put in. But anyway, you don't have to do. You got $100,000, guys. You ain't got to do a thing else. You're going to be a millionaire. It's just sit back and relax and don't touch it. Don't create hindrances. You know, we were talking about those hindrances, those issues where you're solving short-term problems with long-term money, lifestyle creep, letting your family take your $1 million away from you when they could get responsible and start doing the same thing, teaching them how to fish instead of giving it to them all the time. I know people need help, but put your mask on first and then worry about it, right? My goal is to be a distribution center, but I got to get Nelson Simmons right first before I can do it on a grand level where I'm being impactful. Yeah, I'm doing that, but to be super impactful, I have to get myself right first, right? So, all right, that's all I wanted to share with you guys. Not all I wanted to share with you as far as I'm done, but like share with you to just put it home. Like, this is real. It is what it is. I know this for a fact. I'm giving you the blueprint. I'm giving everybody the blueprint. I'm trying to tell you, this is how you become an everyday millionaire. I'm gonna tell a story right now of a couple, and and I got the concept. It's not actually my concept. It's I think it was coined by Chris Hogan. He was a personality with Ramsey, but he has a book called The Everyday Millionaire. But shoot, it's mine because I'm helping people achieve this, on the scale that I can. But I was with a couple, a young couple that I have. I've got just about all of the family money. They're just everyday people, right? Dad came to me and said, "Hey, I blew it in showing my son finances. I don't know anything about that, but Nelson, I know that you do." So in return, I've got the son, got the grandmother, I've got the girlfriend who's soon to be his wife. They're about 19 or 20, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, and they're doing this, and they're going to be everyday people, right? They're going to be he's going to be in construction. He's going to school for some construction, business construction or something like that. He's going to be in the construction industry, and she's going to be a nurse. So I'm sitting on the back seat. We're going to play golf. Me and Dad, because we're buddies, are sitting on the back seat. We're just letting the kids just drive us out to the golf course, right? And I'm just looking at them. They all touchy-feely and all that other stuff. And I'm just like, praying over their relationship. And it's like, hey, if they just want to do this thing, Lord, be with them, protect them. They have no clue how life is going to hit them, right? They're going to have all kinds of life issues. We as married men or people who have been married know that marriage ain't easy. Things happen, people die, all that other stuff, but they will not have to worry about money. If they continue to do what they're supposed to do, they will be everyday millionaires. And that's kind of how the concept came to me, being like, this is the mission. I see this. I want to be impactful. I want to do this for people. I want to help them in any way possible to achieve their financial goals and financial dreams and make sure that they're straight at the end of the day. So we talked about the Everyday Millionaire. I've shown you how it is possible. Let's go ahead and talk about the updates to the Secure Act. That's the act. It's what it stands for is Setting Every Community Up for Retirement Act that was enacted in 2019 under the Donald Trump's administration. Basically, how it impacts us or you guys is the required age for minimum distribution. It upped it from 70 and a half to 73, right? And with the Roth IRA, now that you know the Roth IRA strategy, you want to get your money in there, there is no minimum age that you have to take that, right? So you can kind of finagle with your tax situation. Like you may have a real need of $50,000 in retirement, but if it's in a 401k or a traditional IRA and it has not been taxed yet, you're going to have to take substantially more out to get to that $50,000 that you really, really need. So therefore, in retirement, if you have this pot of money that has already been taxed, it's post-tax, you put it in there, then you can be like, okay, I'm going to say visibly, I just need to take 30 from here from my taxable account or tax account that has not been taxed yet. I'm going to take the other 20 from my my Roth IRA, right? And therefore you've reduced your tax liability for that year. Social Security's tax. I have worked with clients that got in trouble for not paying their taxes on their Social Security. It's a real thing. Interest. It happens. Go figure. Pay into it. It's just like they're gonna tax it. So, and then it's not enough to live off of anyway. So just make sure you have your pots of money and make sure you have it sheltered in something that's already been taxed and it's growing tax-free. So when you pull it out, this is like pulling it out of your savings account, your checking account. Do whatever you want to do with it. You don't have to worry about nobody coming in asking you for a piece that you've worked so hard for. I don't want to pay taxes. Do you? I don't. I'm sorry, I don't. But yeah. So in other news, you guys may not care, but the Secure Act 2.0 in 2025 is going to require that companies enroll all employees into a retirement plan automatically. So it's going to force people to save at least 3%. They can opt out of it, but why would you? But there's probably going to be some people that opt out of it. But it's getting that bad. It also signifies that there ain't going to be no Social Security after a while, right? And I think that the baby boomer generation is going to be the last generation that kind of sees it in its full capacity, right? So I really don't think that Social Security is going to be around for future generations. It's going to be on you to do the savings. And if you ain't, you see what I'm saying? It ain't gonna be no more. When I turn 62, you see what I'm saying? No, and then you don't even get the full benefit until what, 67, I think. Don't quote me on that. But I know us in our community. I heard my aunts, my uncle, my mom, my dad talk about that 62 was that golden age, boy. They was ready for that Social Security. And no, I'm not waiting to get max benefit. I ain't waiting a day. Give me my money now. So everyday millionaire disciplines. All right. We're going to sum it up, and then I'm going to open it up for questions. Know your FIN, right? Know your financial independence number. And I'm going to do like a quick calculation over here for myself because my math is super, super bad. So what do you want to pay yourself out of the money that of the bank with your name on it? So when everything is said and done, you needed to know, how much salary am I going to take from the money that I've saved? That's why it's so important to become an everyday millionaire. So say, for instance, you have, you want to pay yourself a $75,000 salary. The amount of money that you have needed accumulated, you times that times 25. It's called the 4% rule. It's a rule that financial advisors use. So you'll need to save $1,875,000 to be able to sustain your life for 25 years. So say, for instance, I want to retire at 65. That amount of money will last me 25 years. Now, this is just a raw number. This is not talking about any taxes, Social Security, inflation that you have to combat for, because your money still has to grow in retirement, right? This is just a raw number that I have to get to, right? And it's solvable by a math equation. That's why you just need to come talk to somebody that will help you, right? That does this for people. But anyway, so this money will last me if I retire at 65 till I'm 90 before I'm out, before I run out. That's just me taking care of myself, my necessities. And remember, now you're in the age where your insurance is no longer subsidized, right? So you got all these other things that you have to account for in retirement. You become expensive, kind of like you got babies, and yeah, they expensive, but them teenagers, boy. And then it's kind of like you don't need your health insurance, and then you kind of start needing it. And you're glad you got it, and then you really need this stuff, right? You become more expensive as you get older. My parents are expensive. Shoot, they just are. They old and expensive. Kind of like when the circle of life. Right. And so that'll also allow you to draw down, if we're talking about a percentage, 4% every year for 25 years to give you that $75,000. All right. All right. Let's talk about making savings and investing automatic. Just make it automatic. You need to treat it like that Hulu subscription and them subscriptions that you don't even know anything about. They just run it. And Netflix is just collecting money on you every month. And you don't even know it. You laughing, Corey, but you know it's true. It may not be Netflix. It's one of them services that you just don't even know. It's like, dang, I'm paying for this. Pay yourself first. Take the money with your name on it and put it into another account with your name on it that bears more interest, so that you can be less of a burden on yourself when retirement age comes. Dollar cost averaging. That's just buying stock at that set $583.33. If it's $100, if it's $25, if it's whatever you can afford. Just make sure you're doing something towards retirement. And so what you're ending up doing is you'll end up with more of an asset, right? This is a true statement, and it's sad, but most of the money is made in bad economic times. It's made in bad economic times. People are getting rich out here in real estate when the market was low, interest rates were low. It's just a game, and now they're high. The demand, you see what I'm saying? He who owns the land and the gold, the ones that own everything, get your piece of that pie. And the way that you do it is through dollar cost averaging. And the everyday millionaire has to do it is through this dollar cost averaging. So what we're doing is we're taking advantage of economic misfortune. And it's Black Friday. When I have it, just think of it. If we want to put it in the terms of that, we can understand where it's not so scary. Black Friday, we know that the economy as a whole is going to come back up, regardless of what they're saying on the news station. That's just selling fear and people writing books and all this other stuff and making money behind the scenes when they know the game and how it's played. So we as Black folks just need to know that everything is going to be okay. If the U.S. economy goes under, then all of us are done for, right? Everything is so interconnected that if this stock market goes, your money in the bank is no longer good. We saw that a couple of months ago and things of that nature when there was almost a run on the bank, when the tech companies out in California and all that stuff was going on, right? So we kind of got a feel of what can happen. They're not going to let that happen. It can happen, but the likelihood, we all mess up. We ain't none of us gonna have anything. So you ain't got to worry about stock market. You ain't got to worry about the money in the bank. Better know that maker. That's all I'm gonna say. And then a diversification, right? Where's Sears? Where's Blockbuster? Give me some more companies that are no longer. You don't put all of your money in. I don't believe in single stocks, no way. Not for my retirement. For my you see what I'm saying? For investing and things of that nature. If I want to buy the hot stock, or I want to buy some what was it over there, GameStop or whatever, and I want to play, yeah, I can do that, but not for my retirement money. That's over there in my brokerage account, right? We trying to come up too fast. This is something that grows over time, right? So diversify. We don't need you. We don't know, and neither, honestly, do the people the analysts that go in and truly have knowledge of researching these companies. If they can be fooled, what is the common man doing trying to just invest in one single stock to carry him for his lifetime? You don't know what the next Amazon is. I don't either. But I need to own some Amazon along with Meta and Apple and Google. So the only way that I lose my money, all of my money, is if all those companies go out of business at the same time on the same day. And a good way to do that and to have a good foundation in your investment portfolio inside of your account, your IRA or 401k, is mutual funds. And if you want to put some index funds in there, yeah, that works too. That's kind of all you're going to be exposed to for a work 401k plan, or a 403 or a 457 is kind of vanilla, right? So just throw it in. I wouldn't necessarily do a target. You can, because it'll adjust it, right? It'll adjust that stock split. And remember, I just told you the key to becoming a millionaire is staying equity centric, or more so in equities, right? Which is the average millionaire was doing like 80% stock, 20% bond. But what ends up happening is through the course, like the whole course of their investment career, the whole 30 years, you need to be in more stock, in my opinion, versus bond, right? But what a target date retirement fund will do is it will move as you get closer to retirement, say you're 50s, 60s, or whatever, you'll be out of stock, right? And you still need that growth, that lift to get you to the finish line. All right. And then my last point is roll over all 401k employer sponsored money into a IRA immediately upon separation. Don't leave your money over there with your old girlfriend or your old job. Would you do that? Would you leave your money with your old girlfriend? No. Better take your money with you. That is an option. You can leave it with your old employer, but then when the plan administrator changes, it may shift you into a simple savings account of money market. You have no control over that. You always want to keep control over your money, even if it's rolling it. If your new employer has a option where you can roll the money over into their plan, do that. But if you want ultimate control and charge of your money and have more investment options, roll it over into an IRA that you control the investments in. And that's it, guys. That's all I got. I hope you guys got something. I did my best. I tried to explain that backdoor Roth strategy. Come holler at your boy if you want to implement it. I'll get you there. But I gave you the step 1, 2, 3, and 4.
My man. So
It
listen,
does get complicated, but when you mix it, but if you just do it the way I told you, it won't be complicated.
Hey Nelson, hey,
Hey,
nice to meet you, brother. Thank you
nice to
for
meet you.
dropping these gems, man. I jumped on a little bit late, so I may reach out to you offline regarding the backdoor
Sure.
Roth strategy. But everything that you just talked about, man, was just spot on. And when you were speaking about the Roth, we rolling over things from an employer, it's like I just retired from the military after 20 years, and we have thrift savings plan, a
Yeah.
TSP plan, to where you can choose a fund, but you have no control over anything else other than choosing that fund. So, excuse me, immediately after I retired, I rolled over my Roth and my traditional
Yep.
through TSP over to Fidelity, which is the brokerage that I use primarily.
Okay.
I did that because, like you were saying, now I have full control over what I invest my money into, right? And Corey knows this, but I've been investing and been trading, day trading and swing trading for years.
Okay.
And that when you spoke on the ETFs in particular, also. That's a great conservative strategy that I try to tell people the exact same thing in regards to, hey, instead of trying to point out specific stocks and hit the lottery, look for specific sectors. Myself personally, I really started focusing on like the chip sector, microchip sector.
Okay.
AI is huge right now, and
Yeah.
during the gold rush, right? The people that made money were the people selling picks and shovels, right? During the gold rush. So
Yeah.
yeah, you've heard that expression before.
Absolutely.
So the same thing with AI, we're gonna need microchips. We're gonna need chips, right?
Mhm.
And I mean there are individual stocks that you know um, I have small bags in, but for the most part, I keep it pretty conservative. Even ETFs with the ETFs through that sector. I invest in cybersecurity ETFs, chip ETFs, real heavy. So I definitely like what you said about doing all that. So the one question that I had for you when it came to when you spoke on mutual funds as well,
Yeah.
um, just from my own personal uh, association, with people that I've networked with, and when it comes to investing, a lot of people told me to really stay away from like the mutual funds because of the fees associated with the mutual funds. So, and I don't know if you spoke on that or if I missed it because I came on a little bit late. But what's your personal your personal preference in regards to mutual funds? Is it something that I understand is easy for the conservative investor, because they don't have to do anything and the money's being managed for you, but a more aggressive slash conservative investor like myself, um, who prefers to be able to manage, my funds a little bit more on a personal level. Do you have any cons, I guess, when it comes to the mutual funds at all, or what are your thoughts on that?
Right. Right. Okay. So when we're talking about mutual funds, there's a myriad of things that I can say. Um, for the retail investor, someone starting out, I do believe that it could be better. There are other options like separately managed accounts that you may have heard of, where you have more control of your investment. You can move in and out of the market
Right.
um, uh, before the closing bell, right? With mutual funds, you have to wait all day. There's cons to them, right? So,
Right.
but there are minimum investment dollars that you, in order to access the next level. For the everyday millionaire, that may not be the best route, right? For
Right.
this discussion, we're just talking about getting people in. But there are
Okay.
things called separately managed accounts where for me, in my investment group, is $25,000 to $500,000 minimum.
Okay.
Now, some of these other investment houses, Raymond James and stuff, you're talking about 250,000 before they'll even touch it, right? Or
Right.
what's that other one? There's another big one before they'll touch it, and then you also got to think those are the small accounts. Those are the ones that they throw off to the junior advisors, right? They're just like, hey, I don't want to touch
Right.
that. We want the big accounts. I want the $1 million accounts, right? So in saying that, so it's a good way for people who are truly getting started, want to become the average day millionaire, to get their feet wet in the market, to be truly diversified
Okay.
without the risk associated. When you talk about the fees dissipate. One thing that I did show you on the actual hypo or historical is though that you hit breakpoints, right?
Right.
And at those breakpoints, eventually, like when you get to $1 million, there are no more fees for entry, right? So it's just you just putting more money in. There's nothing that you're actually paying, and it happens before you hit $1 million. Versus asset under management, there's a lot of ways that advisors can get paid out here, right? So if they're managing your assets, that never goes away, and you pay that fee, that 1% on that $1 million for the life of however long they hold that money, it doesn't matter how it performs. You pay that, right? And then they have separate managed accounts, kind of like I told you, with a sophisticated investor, where we're not pooling money together and going out and like buying stock, because Amazon is expensive, and to the everyday investor, to buy a share of Amazon, that's just not feasible, right? And so it gives you access to these companies that are powerhouses, and they've appreciated so much that the average person cannot afford to purchase them. So for the everyday millionaire person, just every old average person, I say that mutual funds and index funds and things of that nature are for them. It's the safest way. You don't necessarily have to get a loaded fund. There's other ways to do it now, but you may not have your advisor to help you when the storm comes, and then everybody's pulling out at the wrong time. It seems like when you get scared, you don't have that coach to be like, hey, this is just part of the game, right? Ride it out. You'll be fine. I have those conversations all the time. Ride it out. You're going to have fun. But for somebody like you who's retired, there's the separately managed account, where there's investment strategies that are unique to that individual, how that individual thinks, tax harvesting, and various complex situations when you've got a lot going on. So, but for the everyday millionaire, that's the way to go, in my opinion. And then in your 401k plans and stuff, it's just vanilla. They're mutual fund. Those are mutual funds in your plans at work and stuff like that. They can't get as risky in those plans.
Okay.
A lot of legality.
Thank you.
Behind that, yeah. So I hope I answered the question in a roundabout way.
You did. I appreciate it. Yeah.
No problem. Thank you for the question. We share the same last name.
That's right. You got any family in Georgia?
We might be relatives, man.
It's a great show. I was gonna say, man, Nelson Simmons, man, we missed you all 2023, man. Uh,
Yeah.
back on
Sure.
Black Men Sundays, man. You enjoying yourself on this show, brother?
Man, I'm enjoying it, man. I am having a blast. I'm back. I'm back at them. Whenever you need me. Yeah, I'll be back on here. I got some more stuff for you.
Oh, I know you
For
do.
business owners. We ain't gonna talk about it tonight, but for business owners, I'll be back and we'll talk about that. How about that?
Yeah, definitely. That sounds great, man. That
Do some
sounds
of that tax liability.
Right.
Still not a tax advisor coming on this show. I'm not doing that. Even though I'm an accountant, I'm not doing that.
well, Nelson Simmons, brother. It's 2024. Happy New Year. Welcome
New
back to
Year.
Black Men Sundays, brother. It's good to see your face. I was gonna say, man, one thing about you, man, you don't age at all. You look the exact same. I'm like, huh, this brother look the exact same, bro. You don't age at all. So we're gonna have to get you on here and talk some health conversation, like what do you use in the Ponds Institute, or what you doing, bro? That's skin looking radiant. Must be that good Nashville weather. But hey, Nelson Simmons, man, I appreciate you for coming on Black Men Sundays. My
Yes.
financial advisor. Like I said, I'm one of those people where, when brothers come on this show, I drink the sauce too. And I'm drinking. And it's funny how you set that account up for me, Nelson, 2 years ago. And I kind of forgot about it. At first, I ain't gonna lie, when I feel like that first 6 months, I was like, ooh, Lord.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even check. Just let it.
Then afterwards, I got used to it now. But here's what started happening. So something just said one day, man, let me just see what kind of money. And I haven't looked at anybody. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, okay, I get it now. But it took me some time to get, because like from my job's point of view, I was always good with that. But it's nice to have that fun when you have that advisor that can kind of look over your shoulder. Because I'm one of those single stock emotional guys. Oh, the stock's tumbling. Get your money out. I'm running. No one's telling me I'm Robin Hood, click, click, click. And then the money, I might take that, reinvest it somewhere else, but I always get in trouble. So for me, I know how I get down, you know what I'm saying? So I know it's easier for me to kind of have a financial overseer, if you will. That way, when I get emotional, you can kind of coach me to kind of get me back to normal. So it's all good, man. But hey, happy New Year, fellas.
Yes.
Nelson Simmons, man, welcome back to Black Men Sundays, and we out of here. Peace.
It's a Black Man Sunday. Time to put all childish things away. I refuse to be the man I was yesterday. Gotta put my best foot forward and elevate. It's a Black Man Sunday. Time to put all childish things away. I refuse to be the man I was yesterday. Gotta put my best foot forward and elevate. It's a Black Man Sunday.